Gotta get more followers.
In today's video, we were fortunate enough to talk with Lindsay Duff from Uprofit Trader and also Responsible Day Trading. We get into her background as a trader, how she came to start Responsible Day Trading, and then the genesis as well of Uprofit Trader. Of course, what interview wouldn't be complete without the rapid fire questions at the end? You won't want to miss Lindsay's answers to those. Everyone, enjoy my interview with Lindsay Duff. Today, we are fortunate enough to get to talk with Lindsay, the founder of Uprofit Trader. Lindsay, how are you doing today?
Hello, I am fabulous. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you so much for spending some time with me. And I know much requested. A lot of people love hearing interviews with the founders, especially of Uprofit Trader. So we have lots to talk about. So as always, we're going to start learning about Lindsay as a trader, first of all. Then we'll get into her venture with Responsible Trading as well, and then move on to Uprofit Trader, the funded trader program. And of course, what interview would be complete without my rapid fire questions at the end? We'll save those. So Lindsay, let's get to know you first.
All right.
When did you start trading and what did you start with? Was it futures? Was it something else?
Let me just tell you, I do feel like I have a little bit of a unique story in how I got started in trading. I was a bartender with a criminal justice degree, single mom, 2 kids, never seen a market a day in my life. And there was a gentleman that I worked with whose brother had a company that was teaching people how to day trade. And they were little by little taking the really smart guys that I worked with. And one day I kind of cornered them and told them that I was way smarter than those guys and they needed to hire me as well. And a week later I was hired. After never seeing a market a day in my life, I did sit in the conference room and learned everything from the ground up for quite a few months. And at that point, and I only came into the world of futures. I had never traded anything else. I didn't even know anything else except for E-mini futures. And they were trading the Russell at that time, which they eventually moved over to the E-mini S&P. And I've been there ever since. And that was about 15 or 16 years ago.
Wow. Okay. That's fantastic. Yeah, it's interesting. Most people seem to go through a journey of like stocks or options, and then they find their way to or FX, and they find their way to futures. You were just right in there from the start. Day one.
I'm actually opposite. I found my way to stocks and cryptos, obviously, a little bit. I'm really just E-minis is all I've ever really done, tick charts, those kind of things. And I actually feel very lucky to be able to have come into it in that way because after all these years of working with lots of students through Responsible Day Trading and the other companies that I've worked with in the past, it really showed me that there are so many other ways. Do they work? Absolutely. But this has definitely been something that's worked for me very well. So I like the style that I was introduced to, and I'm very happy that it went the way it did. Yeah.
Perfect. So you've already answered one of my next questions. I was going to ask what products do you trade? Do you ever venture outside of the E-mini, or is it just E-mini and blinders on? That's it.
Yeah. So it's E-mini S&P 500 pretty much. I will every once in a while dabble with a micro just for fun and to show my students at Responsible Day Trading that you can trade. You can start off with something like micros. I even start off simulating with micros, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, I trade a few stocks and dabble a little bit with cryptos, but otherwise my bread and butter is all in E-mini futures.
All right, nice, cool. I want to ask you a little bit more about Responsible Day Trading in a minute. But first, before we jump out of getting to know you as a trader, I'm curious, what software do you use to trade? Is it the classic NinjaTrader, or do you venture into something else?
I started with TradeStation at that first company. And after I think our first year there, they moved over to NinjaTrader. And I have been with them ever since. I'm like a NinjaTrader girl through and through. I'm a firm believer in it. Yeah. And it's really funny because even the guy who I work with on a regular basis at NinjaTrader right now was there whenever we made the switch over 15 years ago. And so it's really awesome to still be able to talk to him through there.
Right there.
Yeah, right. You're doing something right when you're keeping your people around that long. So
no kidding. Yeah. So I think I heard you say tick charts. My question is like, what are your cues to enter a trade? Do you have specific trade setups? You don't have to give away the farm, but just what's your
Oh,
style of
no.
trading, etc. What are you looking for?
So I do what I call like a generational system is what I call it. I call it a generational system. And basically I've got a large, a medium, and a small chart. I'm using tick charts and I'm very, very big on Fibonacci numbers. Everything I do is based off Fibonacci numbers because it's very cyclical. And really, I'm just looking at patterns and pullbacks. I'm looking at my middle chart, which is typically my 1597 for the setups. I'm looking to my smallest chart, which is typically my 233 for the opportunity to have a very low risk. And I'm looking at something like my 1097 tick chart for the longevity of the trade. And so the smaller tick chart allows me just to keep the risk really, really low. It's all the same market. We're still looking for patterns, but when you see all of them come together like that, sorry, I'm using 3 EMAs. And so I'm using a 1, a 55, and a 144 EMA. And I'm using a MACD that we actually developed for responsible day trading. It is a MACD that has an ADX indicator on it. I had one that had an ADX indicator and one that had colored dots, and I wanted them merged. So I got somebody to do it because I didn't know how to do it. So I got someone to make it for me. And it's amazing. I love it. It's very simplistic. We're just looking for support and resistance, slowdowns, pullbacks, and the opportunity for an area to run to the next area. So
it's interesting talking with different traders and whatnot that I have been lately. Everybody has their thing their tools they use and their indicators and their systems they use, and everybody finds their own way, and it works out great. And hey, we can all make money in the future. So
absolutely. And that's one of the things that I actually love about this, and people don't think much about it, but because we all are trading so different, learning to read the pullbacks and knowing where the pullbacks happen. And yeah, you can trade it when it's going either way because there are so many traders out there making different decisions. And a pullback is just a viable trade as the run to take, as long as you understand where that pullback should probably stop. But those pullbacks wouldn't happen if we didn't have just so many different thoughts and opinions in the market. Otherwise, it just run in one straight line and nobody would have an opportunity to get in, right?
So speaking of responsible day trading, I know that is a big part of what you do. I'm curious to learn more about responsible day trading. Maybe just start off, tell us, why did you start responsible day trading?
Sure. So I had throughout the years ended up working for several different day trading companies and was really seeing that a lot of the students were not getting what they were promised. They're only getting pieces of the puzzle. And that means that a lot of the information that they really needed to maintain success or to maintain consistency wasn't there. They were also told they were getting, a lot of hand holding and things like that. And that wasn't there as well. So one of the reasons that I actually got involved with the company is because I'm a teacher at heart and I love working with people and I love seeing them grow. And so we decided we were going to be a little bit different here and just make sure that we work with these students and we're there with them through the entire process.
So if someone was to go to responsible day trading, what can they expect? And what is it that responsible day trading really offers to traders?
Sure. More than anything, we try and educate. Number one, we do have a user guide for people who are beginners so they can just learn about E-minis and futures and things like that. But we definitely go further than that. We have a full written and video curriculum that walks students from A to Z. We have a platform fundamentals course that actually teaches people how to use NinjaTrader, because that is one of the things that happens when people come in to learn to trade is they don't realize that there's also a process of learning the programs that you're going to use to trade with. So we've taken a lot of time and really broken down how to use the NinjaTrader program, how to understand it, what all the buttons do. And then we break down the course. What are the EMAs? What are we anticipating for them? What does strength and weakness look like? And we do that through everything, through the price, through the EMAs, through the MACDs. And they have homework that they do. So once they're done with a section of the course, we ask them to do homework. And I may ask you to send me 10 examples of head and shoulders. And most people know what head and shoulders are, but I'm going to understand by number 8 if you really know what head and shoulders are when you send me 10 screenshots of what you anticipate head and shoulders to be. And sometimes you can say, and I'm also going to understand what you don't know about head and shoulders by example number 8. So I create a video, or me or Jason, my head coach, we create a video going over our students' homework and saying, this one is correct, this one is not correct, and here's why. And if you feel like they don't understand it at that point, then we go in even deeper and bring up more examples. Here's what you should be looking for. Here's why. And so we really just want to make sure that each basic concept is understood before they move to the next one, because it's just building on that process. And so we create a video, and those are available to our students. We put it unlisted on YouTube so they can just access it as many times as they need. They can download it if they want. They can have it in their arsenal and go back and say, okay, what piece am I missing? How do I understand? And I even have them resubmit the homework sometimes if I really feel like they don't understand. But everything's got a written and video curriculum for the entire course. We also have growth and development videos, which goes even deeper. And they were classes that we did do a little bit before the pandemic hit, going through we actually walked through with a bunch of students live, going through the entire course. We had a guest speaker come in and go through mindset with them. We just went through what are differences between a professional trader, things like that, and just really learning about things deeper into trading. We also do one-on-ones with our students. So once they go through the whole curriculum, we have one-on-ones that they can set up with us once they start simulating. And so they'll simulate, we'll go through these trades together and start talking about, what are they missing that they're getting into earlier? Maybe they're getting into late, or I can see if they've got a little bit of FOMO going on, or if they're revenge trading, all those kind of things we can talk about and discuss and talk about ways to overcome them. And a lot of times, to be very honest with you, ways to overcome them have nothing to do with trading and overcoming some of the stuff that they're battling in their minds that are outside of trading, and just talking about different books they might want to read that just kind of helps them be present and in the moment, and being able to watch them grow through that is such an amazing experience, honestly. We also have one other thing. We have the vault, which is, it's about 3.5 years of my trading. So I do have the YouTube channel, but the vault is the full day of trading. The YouTube channel is just a 10-minute. These are all the trades that we took. The vault is everything. I'm a talker, obviously. So I talk through all of my trades, why I'm taking one, why I'm holding. And sometimes I'm even talking about, I took this trade because I wasn't paying, and being very honest and open about the losses that I might have taken. Saying that I took this, I can see that I wasn't waiting. You could hear me. I was on the phone. You could see I was typing on something else and I wasn't giving it my full attention. And this is why I lost the trade, or just anything like that. So they can see, number one, that they're not alone in taking trades that don't work out, because we're going to all take trades that don't work out. But how do you handle your mental state, and how do you handle, your account after that? And so number one, letting them know that they're not alone, that we are real people, that we are doing this too. But number two, to also just give them another piece to put in their arsenal so that they can go out there and say, okay, I can watch these videos and get more and more input on how this is put together. That's a lot. I'm sorry. I know I talked a lot about it.
No, but I think it's a long answer for a good reason. And a few things you said that I just want to reemphasize, or
Sure.
I guess, circle back to. It's just one, like learning the basics. So obviously I'm more heavily focused on like the trader valuation world, but day in and day out, like new traders coming in and they don't know the base, like they've never seen Ninja Trader before in their life. So they need those basics. And unfortunately it's not always provided with an account. So they need a resource to go learn this stuff.
Well, and Ninja Trader does have videos, but they're very, the words I want to use is kind of mechanical. And this we're going through as a user, hey, these are the buttons you're going to really want to use most. These are the ones, and this is what they're going to do. This is how you set up your ATM strategies, those kind of things that are very important up front, but also how do you install it? And also Jason is a very technical person. So thank goodness for that, because I am not. So anytime any student has an issue putting up a video, setting up their Ninja Trader, he connects with them and gets on and helps them set it up as well. And we also modify as we're going along. So when we realize that maybe things have changed with Ninja Trader, or maybe we didn't make the video thorough enough and someone's, we've had several people reach out and ask the same question. Well, that tells us that we need to make another video over that because there's multiple people who have the same question. And so we will add on and create more so that we can make sure that every piece is touched.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hear you. You're right. Like the Ninja Trader videos on YouTube, like they're great if you know specifically what you're looking for.
Yes.
But just as a new user, you need to know, like, how do you install this thing? Where do you start?
Yeah.
Where do you enter your account information? Like all of that stuff sounds simplistic, but it's overwhelming when you're new.
How do I download indicators? How do I bring them up on the screen? How do I change the size of things if it looks weird? Or what does this F in the corner mean? All those kind of things.
So beyond the basics, if you will, or the starting points for a trader, you also touched on a few things like trader education as far as like using the different indicators and whatnot, and trader psychology, which I think is huge.
Yes.
Because one thing I did notice is you do have like the one-on-one coaching and or just the coaching videos in general. So it sounds like it's really like a fully.
And if students can't make it to the one-on-one, because I do have students in, opposite ends of the world. So sometimes they can't make it to the one-on-one. So they'll send me their charts and we are very specific about the way they're set up so we can discuss them just as though we're on a Zoom video together or something like that. And one of the great things about Zoom is I can take over their charts or their screen and move their charts around and we can be in the same spot and talk about the same thing and be very clear about it. But if they can't make it to that, then they'll send me all their all of their screenshots. I did one this morning that it was about 45 minutes going through all of their trades, very specific about their entries. I make them mark where their stop is. And we talk about if their stop's in the right place to keep them, from getting hit while they're in there, those kind of things. It's very in-depth, very thorough.
Yeah, no. And I think that's a lot of traders could benefit from these types of things,
getting feedback and knowing, because what I find is so many traders make assumptions about themselves from something that they've only got part of the answer to. And so they go in there and go, oh, I'm just an awful trader. Well, no, you could be an amazing trader and just had a little bit of an awful, strategy that you were using. You have a strategy that doesn't work that maybe worked for someone else instead. And that's another thing, honestly, about responsible day trading is we don't try and fit you into our box. So we have a bunch of different chart sizes that work together well. If something like being in and out much quicker works for you, we can work with you on how to lower the risk, use smaller charts, the ones that will go together and flow together best. Or if you want to hold for longer, we've got like the 28,657 tick chart. So that shows us a much bigger picture. So you don't have to fit into our box. You may take the second entry and that's cool. We'll talk about how you can best position yourself to not take the first entry and look for the extra confirmation. Or you may be the person that's always taking that first entry. That's cool. We'll talk about it and figure out the best strategy for you to make sure that you are doing the right thing and not getting run over every time. So you're definitely not having a fit into a box. It's literally, and that's why I named it responsible day trading. It's about being responsible. It's about being present, and it's about finding what works best for you. And we're going to help you. We're going to help you learn that and understand that.
One thing I wish I had something like responsible day trading in my life when I started as a trader, because I really went through a lot of the growing pains on my own. And I know for sure it would have been fast tracked and saved myself a lot of frustration and just a better learning curve. And I tell people too, if you're looking to make futures trading or any type of trading, your career for the rest of your life, invest a little bit of time, invest a little bit of effort, become the best trader you can. So something like responsible day trading.
Like I said, I came in a very unique position where I was paid to learn, right? And I love working with people and seeing them grow. So all I could ever think about was the way I'm going to give back for being able to have that unique position. And this is how I've been able, between this and Uprofit Trader, is what's allowed me to do that. Because we do bring on scholarship students to responsible day trading as well. We run a scholarship program every October. And we had a lot of people sign up for it. And we had to pick 2 out of all of that. And it was hard, but it was wonderful. And it was rewarding. And all the other people that we met that some of them ended up joining us anyways after that. And these people become, especially because we're spending so much time working with them, they become like, I know that sounds so cliche, they become like family to me, but some of these people I talk to every day, like, how are you doing? How are your kids? And if they're going to put in the effort, we're going to as well. If they're going to be working hard, we're going to do everything we can to make sure their mindset is in the right space and that they're ready to go.
Anyone listening to this, you should check out Responsible Day Trading. I'm going to put links down below in the video to both Responsible Day Trading and Uprofit Trader, which we're going to talk about in a second. But I have one more question for you before we spin off into Uprofit. Relates to it. It's a nice transition. How do you've got Responsible Day Trading going on, you've got Uprofit Trader. Besides just managing those companies, you're also a trader yourself. How do you manage your day? How do you manage your time? Tell us all about it.
It's wild, let me tell you. And I have 2 kids. They're 17 and 19, so they manage themselves pretty well. But at the same time, it is really about making sure that I manage my time wisely. I'm up early because I do like to also find time to work out and to just breathe sometimes. So I do trade just here and there. Sometimes all I need is 15, 20 minutes and I can do what I need. Sometimes I need 2-3 hours, right? Just really depending on how the market is moving that day. But I do make sure I have time to trade because, that's what I'm here for. But I do make sure I make time to trade because I do want to keep my skills going. It doesn't allow me as much time to make the YouTube videos anymore, but we're working on some solutions for that. But yeah, so I try and take just a little bit of time. I try and manage my time wisely. I meditate. I do yoga. I breathe. Still get frustrated sometimes. I just take it one step at a time. And that doesn't mean that I trade every day. Sometimes I'll go a week and I'll be like, man, I need to get some trading in. But I do try and schedule it in for sure.
Nowhere near as busy as you, but I can appreciate some of that just in, I personally also, and this is one thing I tell people when they ask me, I trade 4 hours a day is my max, like 8 a.m. to 12 Eastern, and I'm done. And I see these people trading like every waking hour they possibly can in the evening session, everything. And I'm like, dudes, you're burning yourselves out and there's just not as much opportunity. Take that time and go learn.
We do have such a big Spanish community in Uprofit Trader. And I think it's very important that I'm able to communicate with everyone. I can't learn every language right away, but I'll work on it. So we have a big French community as well. So that will be my next step after I learn Spanish. But right now, every waking hour that I'm not working or even when I'm sitting on the couch with my kid watching TV, I'm learning Spanish.
So you mentioned Uprofit Trader. I've mentioned it. Let's talk Uprofit Trader. I mean, that's what I'm most familiar with. So I'm really curious. I come from a corporate business background, so I'm always interested in the beginnings of companies. Tell us a little bit about it. How long did it take to plan Uprofit Trader, and what made you want to start Uprofit Trader?
Well, Uprofit Trader was kind of born out of the same idea as responsible day trading. We were seeing a lot of, I had worked with one of my partners as a trader. He had come to me when he needed some help with his trading. When I was just kicking off responsible day trading, and we just stayed friends throughout time, and we were seeing some things that were going on. So I would say it probably took us about 9 months to really get it going, 9 months to really, because there's a lot of hoops you got to jump through, and there's a lot of agreements you've got to sign. And you want to make sure that you have the best that you can for your traders so that the environment is as best as possible. And that takes work to filter through everything and make sure that all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed and the website works properly so our traders can do what they need. So I would say it probably took about 9 months for us to really get it kicked off.
So for anyone who's listening, this is the first time hearing about this world of futures trading or evaluations, can you just summarize on the most basic or 10,000 foot level, how does an evaluation work? They sign up, what is happening? What are they signing up for?
Okay. You would go to the website and you would decide what size account that you were to trade. Hopefully, and I say this hopefully, you come into this with the mindset of you already have a trading background, because we want you to be able to come in and do well. And so what we have is a couple of different programs, from a micro program to the e-minis. You're going to choose what size account you want to use. Whatever size account you choose, there are going to be specific rules that are a little bit different for each account. Of course, as it gets larger, the accounts get larger, you have a little bit more leeway with things than you would with a smaller account. As long as you stay within those rules for 10 trading days, then you are able to get funded. Now, when you do get funded, just let you know, you are going to need to send in things like, proof of who you are and things like that. And some of that verification does take a little bit of time at the end because we want to make sure that our customers are protected. We do go through a little bit of a process to get you funded just verification process to get you funded once you pass your test. And then you're pretty much good to go after that. And you want to stay within some specific boundaries then as well, but you're able to start pulling out money from your account pretty much from day one after that, as long as you're within some specific boundaries for each account. Really, as long as you come in, you stay within the rules, you have 10 trading days, then you're able to get our live account at that point.
I think most people who are listening to this and follow me are familiar with it, but just for anyone who is new, you can obviously check out Uprofit Trader's website. And speaking of the website, you just completely redesigned the website. So
yes.
You also, I'm going to throw in here, I have to say, if I hear one complaint about Uprofit, it was the old website, but that's okay. Problem solved.
Yeah, I know. We'd been here. We'd heard it. The website was having issues before. And it was, I think we grew so fast that we weren't prepared for that much growth. And it's a beautiful thing as it cheers to good problems, right? But we wanted to make sure that we were able to accommodate everybody. And we also wanted to make sure that it was speedy because it was very slow before. And I think we have fixed that problem now. Yeah, we're very happy with it. It's a beautiful site.
Yeah, it looks fantastic and it is speed. The other thing you introduced, which I was even more excited about, was a 200K evaluation. Quick humble brag. I took it. I passed already. I still need to put in the full 10 days. We just heard about the rules, but I still have a few more days left. But that said, what's the feedback from me is it's fantastic. What's the feedback been to Uprofit on the 200K?
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. I was actually going to tell you congratulations. I did see that you had posted a video that said that you had passed it. So, yeah, but it's what we expected. People asked for it. And I think you were actually even one that asked for it too. But
early on, yep.
Yeah. People ask for it, and we really do try and accommodate as much as we can.
Fantastic. And yeah, and I'm fully aware you guys are super busy and things take time. But at the same time, super happy when I saw that come up on the new site. It was a nice little treat here. So people can check that out. So I can think of a few ways myself that Uprofit Trader stands out from the competition, but I'm curious to hear from you. What are the reasons people tell you they love Uprofit, or if there's one standout reason or a few you want to throw out? What are you hearing from the traders?
I would say number one is our customer service and the ability to get in touch with us fast, have problems solved. That is number one. Next in line would be a fight for the pro drawdown versus the withdrawal process, because the withdrawal process, I think we are definitely best in the business for that because you have a 24-hour withdrawal option, and you don't get to see that with most places. So from day one, so
Gonna say, if I was to pick out a few of my favorite things, you're absolutely right. Customer service is always lightning fast, but the withdrawals really do stand out. I think people need to appreciate that. I feel like traders, a lot of times they go and they sign up for whichever program based on the evaluation rules. And then once they get funded, then they're like, wait a second, I have to wait 3 months before I withdraw, not with you guys, but with maybe some other firm. But Uprofit Trader, besides the kind of basically, I call them on-demand withdrawals, you also have a ton of withdrawal methods available, which I think is cool. Things like crypto, Zelle, like all that stuff. Like not everybody has that.
Yeah. At the very beginning, we did have a 41-day to withdraw. But, to be quite honest with you, we're all traders ourselves that work here and that started Uprofit Trader. And we looked and said, what is it that we would want? If we were on the other end of this, what would we want? And so we wanted to give that to people as well. And I do want to give a shout out to our customer service team because they really are amazing. And I'm very proud to have them working with us because we've got a 4.9 on Trustpilot out of, I think it's something like 4,500 reviews. And that's a little hard to grab in these days. And so we've got a high amount of people that are very happy with the way things are going. And that makes us happy and makes us want to work harder.
Getting back to these traders, these people signing up, I'm curious. I put out a lot of content about the evaluations and showing my trading, but not everybody loves trading the treasuries like I do. What would be a few tips you could give traders just to help them with the evaluations?
My number one is get to know the system that you're using. If you don't already know how to use it, things like NinjaTrader, you could go over to Responsible Day Trading, and we do have a platform fundamentals course that walks you through everything you need to know for NinjaTrader. Make sure you understand the program you're using. Have a little bit of confidence that what you're doing is the right thing to do, and take a step back if it's not working for you, right? Because you can reset your account every time if you want to, but you're just kind of throwing money away. And I'm saying that from the bottom of my heart. Just take a breath, step back, and make sure that you really know what you're doing before you step back into it. That's my biggest thing. My other thing is, have somebody look over your trades. Don't be alone in it. I'm not saying that you have to come to Responsible Day Trading, because obviously you may not work in the same way that we do with your trading, but work with people, collaborate, and say, okay, what am I doing? That's the only way to learn and move forward, is to really look at the things that you're doing right and the things you're doing wrong, and learn from both of them in order to turn around and do better next time. I mean, we do have plenty of traders who come in here and pull out profits regularly. And it's such a joy to be able to know that we're a part of their growth and their happiness, and their growth for being able to take care of their families, especially when we first started this in the middle of a pandemic, because we started it and a pandemic hit about 2 months later. So that was fun. But really, just take your time, breathe, don't throw money at it. What I call it is, don't click it and say a prayer. Know what you're doing and take the step back that you need to if you're frustrated, or if you feel like you've really started doing some revenge trading and things like that. So that's my biggest advice personally.
I think it's fantastic advice. And unfortunately, I think I speak a lot from my own experience. And that's why I think people like listening to my stuff, is because I went through the stuff and I learned a lot of stuff the hard way. And I was one of those people who would just gun it and like bust and reset and be frustrated. And then you're just on a downward spiral. So when I finally learned to take my time and fix the things that were wrong in my trading, then it all came together. So one final question about Uprofit Trader. We kind of touched on it, but just so it's clear for anyone. So they take the evaluation, they reach the profit goal. They haven't, broken any rules. They trade the 10 days. They submit, the paperwork and their ID and whatnot. What's that time frame from the day you pass? Let's say you pass on a Wednesday. Is it a few days setup? Is it a week? Is it a month? How long does it take to get your live account?
Well, you want to make sure, number one, that you connect with support whenever this does happen. We're working on more automation of everything, but for right now, what we need to do is, whenever you're ready, when you pass your test, you let support know. We will start doing the evaluation, which can take 3 to 5 days. Then we send you the paperwork. The paperwork needs to be filled out. Also, reach back out to us. Let us know that you've submitted the paperwork. Once you've submitted the paperwork, there is another couple of days that it may take before and it's business days. They typically 3 to 5 business days for each of those, because we want to verify everything. We want to make sure that more than anything, we want our traders to be protected. And so we go through every step to verify, and we also make sure your account is set up properly and ready to go whenever that time comes.
And I'll just mention from my own experience, I passed Uprofit back last year at some point. It's all very clear in the communication you get from Uprofit. Like you mentioned, you have to reach out to support, but that's very clear in everything that kind of goes back and forth. And the process is very seamless. Definitely not a hurdle, but I just want to make sure people knew. Cool. I think that is all the questions I had related to Uprofit, but I do have some more questions. No interview is complete without my rapid fire questions. There's only about 7 of them. Some are trading, some are not. Whatever the first thing that comes to your mind is, you let the people know. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Lindsay, what's your favorite color?
Green.
You can only trade one product and one product only for the rest of your life. What is it?
That's going to be the E-mini S&P 500.
All right. No surprise there. Would you rather be long or would you rather be short in a trade?
Short moves faster, but long gives you hope for some reason. But I guess I would have to go with short.
I love it. No, I love it. I like the fast moving ways. The next one, you have to be honest. Have you ever YOLO'd a trade?
I would be lying if I said I hadn't.
I have not yet interviewed someone who has not YOLO'd a trade, myself
Yeah.
included. So I appreciate the honesty.
I did use the click it and say a prayer method a couple of times. Okay. That's how I know it so well.
It's good to learn from experience. So an ideal number of monitors for you, with a number between 1 and 10. What's the ideal situation on the monitors?
3.
3. Last question. It's kind of a layup. What's your favorite online futures trader tryout program?
Well, I would say that must be Uprofit Trader.
Perfect. I love it. And I highly encourage everyone to check out Uprofit Trader for all the reasons we talked about and lots more. And you can check out my videos about Uprofit Trader, and all those links are down below, as well as to responsibledaytrading.com. Lindsay, thanks again so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's been a joy.
Great. Thank you so much. And thanks everybody for listening. And I'll see you in the next video.
Have a great day.